Well, happy Sunday night and welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna, and you know who's here with me today. I am here with Janine Broscious, and that's why you're here, isn't it? You're here to hear all about this new book. Janine, we are so happy that you're here tonight and that we're in this book just came out, right? Like
It did just a week and a half ago.
a week and
And
a half
thank
ago.
you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. I mean, how could I always knew that I wanted to, and I was very happy that the book came so quickly. And I know a lot of other people have gotten their books already, and they're already pouring through them and enjoying them. So, same format as when we have a guest as usual. I'll say hello. You let us know if you're seeing technical things that we're not seeing. Please alert us because we want to create a video that is really free of technical problems, easy to understand. Let us know if there's anything going on. I will keep an eye on the thread and make sure that as the show progresses that you ask Janine questions, right? It's never an interruption. Just go ahead, and when it's a good time, Janine, I'll relay questions to you that people are asking in that sidebar. But make sure
Okay.
that you do, because here's your chance, right? So I will say before the threat gets too far away from me, I will say, um, Juju Needle, hello and cheers from Pennsylvania. It is great to see you. At Haunts, great to see you in Las Vegas. It is chilly there tonight. Cheryl, I know that you are on the Cape. It is rainy there too. Good evening. Happy to see you. My mom is logged on in Granby, Connecticut. Great to see you. It's unseasonably mild here. And DMSP, Diane, I think that's you. Hello from North Central Illinois. Stephen logged on from Delacour, Alberta, Canada. Welcome. Jane, you are logging on from Maryland. And Cook Auburn or Abera, sorry. Hello in Nova Scotia. Great to see you. Happy Sunday night. The Wonder Piece collection. Welcome. Good to see you. Rita, welcome. Great to see you. Hello from Leonardo, New Jersey. Fantastic. That sounds like a very posh town, doesn't it? Claire, great to see you in Port Hope, Ontario. You are Delia. Great to see you, Delia. Wonder Piece Julia in New Jersey. Happy to see you and welcome. New Moon, great to see you. Good evening to you too. Denise in Florida, great to see you. Welcome back. I will keep in Gail. Gail is in Australia. Great to see you. Hello. And I will keep an eye on the thread here so that we can all talk. I want to come back to you, Janine, right away because we have so much to talk about tonight.
Okay.
So much. Linda is logging on in New Jersey. Great to see you. And thank you, everybody, for being with us on a Sunday. Normally, we run the live evening shows on Friday. For me, this was the only weekend day that worked. It worked for Janine. So thank you for being flexible and being with us on a Sunday. Myra, great to see you in Virginia. Catherine in Southern California, great to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. And get settled in because you know what? I wonder if anybody has received the book yet, Janine. It's not
Sev-
impossible.
no, several people have already told me they read the whole thing
You
and,
know,
and enjoyed it.
I'm not surprised. And you know what? I'm going to Sandy, great to see you. Great to see you. And Joyce, great to see you both in Pennsylvania. Welcome. I'm glad that you started with that because I have to say, Janine, I have a real problem these days with life and busyness and kids. Every time I pick up a book, I immediately fall asleep. And you know what the exception is? It's your book. And I'm not
Oh,
just
no.
saying that because I love you and you're my friend. I picked it up this morning and I knew I had a bunch of other things to do with hanging a show tomorrow, and I could not stop reading it. I, I'm
Aw.
I'm say I'm honest to God, this book is so readable. It's like I feel like like you're sitting with me and talking to me. It is so well written, and my hat's off to you because you're a great rug hooker, you're a great artist, you're a great person. You don't have to be a great writer, but you are. You are, and it
Well,
really comes through in this book.
well, thank you. I've always enjoyed writing. In fact, I almost wanted to study that in college, either that or art. But Dad was paying the bills, and he said business administration, so that's what I took. But I enjoyed writing my college papers, and I've written newsletters and my blog and magazine
That's
articles.
right.
And I thought, I think there's a book in me too.
Yeah,
So
without a doubt.
I had to write my book.
And I think that you wrote it at the perfect time as well, because the just to give you an idea, and a bunch more people are logging on. D in Illinois saying hi to you, Janine.
Hi,
Lots
Dee.
lots more buddies logging on. Ruth, great to see you in Missouri. The thing about this book, the writing really matters with a book of this kind, because if you're wondering if you all have the book or don't have the book yet, I'm sure you will by the end of the show, right? Because there I have the link, the Amazon link to this book in the video here too. So you can
Okay.
click and you will. It'll be like a game show. Like you won't be able to hold out. When you see and you hear about it, you won't be able to hold out. It is such a great book because it is like, in terms of its genre, I would say that it is an inspirational memoir that is loaded with art and inspiration. And I have to say, like, when I try to think of other books that are in the same sort of niche, I can't think of any that hits it quite as well as yours, honestly, for like feeding your soul, right? And the storytelling quality of it, along with being inspiring for a rug hooker. It really is a unicorn in the book market, because we don't see books like this, right? So I would categorize it as a memoir that has
Hmm.
tons of art, inspiration, and illustration in it. So if you're someone who's like, "Oh, I've got to have my fix of I've got to see rugs. I've got to see plenty of rugs. They're in here." And you share, as you will tonight, you share your sketchbook and your sort of daily practices of doing your art, and you're going to share all of that. It's also here in the book. So this book is not just an amazing sort of illustration of personal storytelling that is really well written and organized very, very well. It is also a super inspirational book. So don't think that if you only like things with pictures that you would feel jilted. You would not feel jilted with this book. It is loaded with pictures and inspiration. So I want to come back and say, I'm going to look at the book in just a second. Um, what made you feel like this was the time to start working on this project?
Um, well, everybody has a story, and I love hearing everyone's stories. So I wish I had my grandparents' story, or my dad was an incredible person, but he never wrote down his story, and it would have made a great book. So I might have to write about him someday. But recently, some people I knew and people I just knew of have passed away,
Yeah.
and their stories are gone now that they're gone. And I felt like we have lived an interesting life, and I wanted to share my story so that when my great grandchildren or great grandchildren wonder, well, what did they do? They'll know because they can read our book. And people have often said, you should write a book. It's because people say, we're very interested in how you live and what you're doing and your art. And I thought, you know what, I should just do it. So there was one person that passed away, and I just felt very strongly that I needed to write this book. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to ignore this anymore. I'm going to write the book. And it just like overtook me, and I would sit down and write. I think I wrote like 10 chapters in 3 days or something.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it just
it
came
was
very
all right
quickly to
there.
me.
Yeah. It was all
Yeah.
it was all waiting. And the great thing about this book is that your story coincides with some of these rugs that I consider absolute iconic rugs at this point. So you've got these parallel roads where you've got your artwork, and we've seen bits and pieces of it here on the internet. And I just want to remind you all that Janine and I recorded a video maybe a year or two ago,
Yes.
And if you love this video, as I hope that you will, you might want to go back to that video after, because we talked about different things on that day. The book was not even a glimmer in your eye yet,
No.
and we were talking about, you had a library show up, and you were on the road, of course, and we were looking at the show together live, and that worked out great. So that content is there for you too. There is more content that's live with Janine, that you can go back to after the show, right? And that's something to look forward to.
Right.
But we're somewhat familiar with your rugs. We see them in Rug Hooking magazine. We see them online. We see them pop up places, and they really are very striking and very different. It's it's easy when a rug pops up. It's very easy for me to know that it's your rug. Partly because of the subject and the theme, but partly because of your very distinctive style. And the fact that those rugs that we're already sort of aware of dovetail with the story of your life, and your now lifestyle, and the places you go and the things that you see, that is so interesting and cohesive. It's not surprising that it comes across in book form as a super solid piece of storytelling, you know?
Yeah. I've always wanted to make art, and I thought I was just making it for myself, and it really didn't mean anything. And then as I was writing this book and I saw what you're talking about, that it's cohesive, and it was my art is an outpouring of my life and how I feel about things. And it just, like, my art became even more meaningful for me as I was writing this book. It was a really neat experience.
Yeah, I mean it's all here, right? I'm going to show the cover again, and the thumbnail of this video is Janine holding the cover of the book. And again, there is a link to it here, and it is on Amazon. And it's worth reminding you that when books are on Amazon, if you are somewhere else, like Gail is in Australia, other buddies are logging on in the UK, or other Belgium and other countries in Europe, you can get it locally from your Amazon, and then you're not paying that crazy shipping. You're just paying for the book. So having something on Amazon, although people have mixed feelings about Amazon, I have to say this is the way that you can get something like the books that we write within the rug hooking field and everywhere else. You can get them shipped to you for a reasonable amount, because that's where it is, and that's a gift,
Right.
right? Because you don't
Right.
want Janine shipping it from the US if you live in Australia, that's for sure. So yeah, so let's look. We have a bunch more buddies on. Sharon, great to see you. Kelly, great to see you. I got your rug. I hope I wrote and told you that. Great to see everybody logging on, and I want to remind you that you can engage, participate. You can ask questions as we go along. I think that you will have questions. So I'm opening up the book, and I have to say, this is what got me right out of the gate this morning. I picked it up. It was really my first chance to start. I wanted to eyeball it, so I had something intelligent to say and to ask. And I opened it up, and Janine, right at the beginning, you have a quote from C.S. Lewis.
Yes.
And it says, "There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind." And I have to say, that choked me up, because right beneath your book was my C.S. Lewis poems book. He is one of my
Oh,
favorite people. I always have his books around me. And I thought, wow, that's a funny coincidence, because not everybody has C.S. Lewis, hanging
right,
around.
right.
But you probably feel the same way, because you have a very religious life, right? That's a huge part of your life. And of course, that
Oh,
was a huge part of
absolutely.
his life. Beautiful quote to start us off. Denise says, "I can't find it on Amazon." Got it. Okay, good. The link should bring you right to the page. Um, so beautiful way to start the book. And I'm just going to describe the technical aspect of it so you know what to expect when you open the book. We have got 22 chapters and an epilogue. And the chapters are named as such, right? The idea that changed everything, the road to healing, roots of adventure, homegrown adventures. And with each chapter, Janine has kind of inserted a personal storytelling quality that absolutely fits the title of the chapter. So while it doesn't necessarily go it goes fairly chronologically, there's a lot in between that is kind of themed out. That probably doesn't make much sense, but you'll know what I mean in just a minute. So I read the foreword. I got really it caught me right away because I'm looking at pictures of you and Matt traveling, looking at family pictures, I'm looking at older pictures, and along with those pictures, there are tons of your journal paintings, right? Because you
Yes.
are a devoted journaler, right? And,
Right. Yeah. Both in writing, I try to write 3 pages every day. Helps rewire my brain so that I'm more positive instead of negative, and focusing on the right things. And it also it's amazing when you're writing how often ideas will come as I'm doing that too. But then I really like to paint as well as do rug hooking. Painting is almost a little bit more instant gratification. Rug hooking is more of a meditative, slower process type art. But with painting, I can do painting in my journal, like I call them sketchbooks. But here's one, that I did of our camper. I was just sitting outside looking at it and pulled out my sketchbook and did this painting. So that's an example. This whole book is just filled, and I have several of these. So
I mean, you
I
you must because do you have a set practice for yourself? So you journal 3 pages a day. Do you have kind of a set practice for painting and sketching?
I've actually, life circumstances have made it difficult for me to do my sketching and painting lately, but I want to get back to it. I was trying to do some every day
Yeah.
and push myself. I'm totally self-taught. I have read books and watched the classes on the internet or whatever, but I never went to art school. And so this is all just me experimenting and playing, which is how I go towards it, towards all my artwork and my writing and everything, is just play and see what happens.
Yeah.
I try to trust my intuition and go with it rather than overthink things, and things seem to go better when I do that. So my practice basically is to just get stuff out and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it sounds to me, I want to do things fairly chronologically, so I don't want to do too much of a spoiler, but I think a lot of you know that Janine's lifestyle is very unusual because you do live in that camper and you travel all the time.
I
And
do.
that's life now.
Yep. And I tell that whole story in the book
Mm-hmm.
about uh, actually, when I started saying I was going to write a book, all I wanted to do was write a book. I wanted to make something beautiful that would show my artwork, my rugs, my paintings, and I wanted to tell stories of things that we've experienced while RVing, which we were RVing part time, and now we've been RVing full time for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 years without a house, only an RV. And we've traveled across the country many times. So I wanted to make this book that would show my art and tell my stories. And I wrote the first chapter and sent it to one of our sons, and he said, "Mom, I loved it, but I think you have to explain this, the backstory.
Absolutely.
What would push a person to want to sell a house that's a nice house that they've lived in for 23 years and raised their children in? What would make somebody want to do that?" And to be honest, it felt very vulnerable to do that, to tell the backstory, because I talk about my health journey and various problems I had, and why I would want to get rid of our house. It was a nice house and a nice neighborhood. We loved our neighbors, but and that's part of the title of the book,
Yeah.
is I've always felt like there were horizons out there, things I needed to do. My heart was pulling towards those horizons, and that was one of them, was that I got to a point where I felt like we need to travel more and I need to be on the road, and so that's what we did.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
thankfully I have a husband that went along with it.
it's you have sort of in your life the kind of perfect storm in the best way, like everything aligned in such a way that you were able to do this because it for 90 not more than 99% of the people it would be a total pipe dream, but it would not be a
Right.
feasible idea. And I have to say I'm grateful to your son because um I the I got so sucked into the backstory of the book, but I already know your lifestyle. But I love the backstory. I love the part that you share about your family. So, so I'll just kind of, I'm gonna kind of dip in, and as we go
Okay.
along, you stop me or interrupt or whatever. So you start chapter one. Chapter one is called "The Idea That Changed Everything." A winter blues daydream became the start of a brand new life. So you talk in chapter one about how you didn't set out to do RVing full time, and that it just seemed like a cool idea. You were sort of flirting with the idea, but this isn't. You didn't suddenly. This was a gradual thing. It kind of
Yes.
grew into the lifestyle, and you talk a little bit about the background of that and how you found yourself in this situation where you realized you started doing it for part of the year, and you realize it could be a full-time thing,
Right.
and that must have been just such a big and scary thought when it entered your mind.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? Sorry.
okay.
All good. All good.
It's all good.
Press the wrong
Yeah,
button. Yep.
it was a huge decision.
Oh yeah.
We and maybe we're like most couples, we'll talk about things over and over again and then just never do them, or it never gets completed. And that was another one of those horizons that was pulling my heart. It was like it just kept coming back, and I said I can't ignore this anymore. We've got to do this. And he didn't think it was serious when we were talking about it for a long time. And then I'm like, no, I I really want to try doing this. So he went along with it. But yeah, it was. We started off. Well, the reason was because I have different physical problems, and I would just get really achy, even though Maryland is not like living up in Canada with that harsh cold, or North Dakota or anything. But Maryland gets very damp,
Yeah.
cold, icy,
Yeah.
and it just would settle into my joints and make me ache all over, and I would get very depressed.
Yeah.
So we started coming down just to see my parents for a few weeks in Florida during February, and oh my word, it was like I felt like I came alive again.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I like the idea of snow and the fire and snuggling in and hooking, and
Yeah.
I would love that if I didn't get all depressed and achy,
I mean, you have to honor that, when it's like you wish a lot of things in life,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
reality is often different. I loved how you approached the second chapter, and how you were talking about your grandmother and your grandfather and your mom, and you were talking about the chapters called "The Road to Healing." I loved when you were talking about, and I have to say, I recognize this photo of your grandma, who is so beautiful in the strawberry field, and I'm really hoping one of these days to see that pop up as a rug, because she is just, it's such a beautiful photo. But I have to say, it broke my heart when you were describing what her life with pain was like, and
Yeah,
how, and it's just this just got me thinking down this awful rabbit hole. How at the time, she was in pain often, and people around her were saying she's a hypochondriac, and
yeah,
meanwhile, she's just, poor little thing, is struggling with so much pain, and she's still, it seems like a lovely, like lemonade making person, but she
yeah.
was struggling with terrible pain. It got me thinking about just that whole generation, and even up to
Yes.
recently, where you said, you'd been feeling sick and you weren't feeling well, and it was like history was repeating itself in the worst possible way. And finally, you got into this track where you were going to a chiropractor, and that was
Hmm.
helping, and you were encouraged to change your diet and your food, and that helped a ton. And I couldn't help but think, your poor grandmother, I bet she was
Yeah,
having the exact same issues, and she must have struggled all the time with no relief at all.
yeah. I think now we have more alternatives. We have the naturopaths, or I forget what the different doctors are called right off. Um, the Not holistic, but they work more.
Yeah.
Like when I went to the chiropractor, she said our bodies can heal. That was kind of a new thought to me, actually. You usually go to the doctor and they prescribe you medicine, and you just think, oh, I've got this problem, I got to take this medicine.
Yeah.
And she said, no, if we give it the right input with the correct food and some supplements, and even mentally, the correct input mentally, being careful what we're taking in mentally, it can have a huge difference in how our body is and how it can heal. And
Yeah.
first that all sounded kind of woo wooey to me.
Yeah.
This is not normal medicine, but I was desperate.
Yeah.
I really, at 49, I felt so sick and was on the couch all the time and was dizzy to even try to walk through Walmart. I was scared to drive. And I thought, I'm willing to try it.
Yeah.
And it made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah.
So that's another reason I wanted to write about it, is because I know so many people are suffering and I hate to see them suffering. And yes, living the way I do and protecting how I eat and committing to it is very difficult. But it's worth it to me. I won't deviate from it at all, even if people want me to.
No. No, it's
Uh,
not worth it.
it's not worth it.
No. No, and it makes such a lot of sense because when I think about the 20th century, even late in the 20th century, when people were not feeling well, they just threw pills at you. Everything was
Yes,
about medicine. And it didn't matter if taking the medicine made you crazy, like made you act crazy. It would be
right.
like, well, then let's try other medicine. But everything was problem solution. The solution was always some kind of pill, whether it was something psychological or it was something physical, it was take some pills. And that
Right.
has shifted recently. There's every reason. It seems like it was so obvious that so many problems have to do with food and how each person handles food differently, and different foods,
Yes.
different diets for different people. We're all different machines. We don't all take
Yep.
diesel, right? And I
Right.
mean, it's incredible that it took this long to get to a point where that is now, it's like mainstream to say, do you want to be sent to a nutritionist, right, to talk about what you're
Right.
doing wrong? It took forever for us to get to that point.
Yeah,
And
and it's kind of ridiculous. I think that's how it used to be.
yeah,
People used to live on farms. It was all agricultural, and they grew their own food, and they ate healthy stuff, and they used herbs
yeah,
and tinctures, to for healing.
absolutely.
So it's like we got into this medicine, synthetics, and all this other stuff, chemicals, and got so dependent on that. And chemicals were put into our food,
Yeah,
and I think it's just messed us all up.
yeah,
And I liked what you said about each one of us is different.
yeah,
I think also we, like when I was a kid and a young woman, I was taught, we all need the same thing. We all need to eat the same number of meals a day. We all need to follow this food pyramid. And, I don't think that's true. I think each one of us does need a slightly different program.
yeah. We
And that's hard to
definitely
figure
do.
out. But, once you can get some things figured, I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I
Yeah,
still really struggle.
yeah,
My body is aging, and it's also damaged from all those years of things that were going on with me. So I still have a lot to deal with. But if I can stick to eating healthy, keeping my stress low, doing art
yeah,
and rug cooking, and having good input, protecting myself. I don't watch the news. I try to limit my time with anything controversial or stressful.
yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you know what you can handle, and I think this all makes a lot of sense. I can really relate to it because I started taking that weight loss shot, so I'm getting that shot every week, and I have to say, if I just wasn't feeling well. I was never feeling well and just putting weight on. I had very similar to you for years, just like feeling sick all the time. Nobody wanted to take road trips with me. There was always emergencies and always
Uh-huh.
problems, and
Yeah.
went on for years and years. And now that I'm doing this shot, if someone said to me like even 3 months ago, you're gonna completely change your diet and it's gonna be fantastic, I would have said no way. I'm way too much like a creature comfort person. Quality of life is too much to me. I like my food, I like my
Right.
cup. And ever since I've been doing this, like I'm just not eating the same anymore. And there are moments like tonight when I stopped at Popeyes and I got food for everybody except me, that I do feel a little bit jilted, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I feel great. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't, just like you said, I wouldn't eat something that I know is going to set me off because it's just not worth it.
Right.
The
Right. And
consequences.
it is hard in our society. Everything is based around food,
Yeah,
And even with the traveling, I would love to be a foodie and try all the local foods that, the area is famous for. And I can't, but
Yeah.
I will have Matt try things and describe them to me. Like Capitol Reef National Park is known for it has fruit trees growing in it,
Yeah.
and they're known for their little pies. You can buy little tiny pies. And I said, you got to get one of those pies and eat it and describe it to me. So he did. He's gotten very good at that.
That is such a gift to live vicariously through food. I just keep saying to myself, whatever I might not get something super nice. Like I just don't eat nice stuff anymore. Maybe once in a blue moon I will. But the stuff that I do eat, I like that too. So it's not like, it's not like what everyone else is getting, the nice thing and then getting dessert. I'm not getting that, but I still like what I've got. So it's like it's okay, you know?
Yeah.
It's
And
okay.
that's what I was told early on is don't focus on what you can eat.
Yeah.
Focus on all the good things that you can eat,
Yeah.
all the fruits and vegetables. And I do eat meat. And, we have found ways to cook it that tastes really good. In fact, Matt has said several times, we don't need to eat out because
Yeah.
the food we cook at home is better than the food you can get in restaurants.
That's right. And then you know what's in it too,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, what is your diet like? Are you just like a very healthy eater?
Yes, that's how I would describe it. I try not to get hardly anything that's processed food. I read all labels, and if there's words in there I don't understand, which if you look at a lot of the labels, half the time you don't know what in the world they're talking about. If it sounds chemical or, it doesn't sound like just whole real food, I don't go near it. Even if
Yeah.
it says natural flavoring, I don't know what that means,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to eat it.
No, the
Um,
flavoring is suspicious.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So mostly we eat fresh. I try to get fresh, if not frozen, but fresh vegetables and some fruit and meats. Now I can't eat rice, so I get the brown rice and I can get like rice noodles,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
That's
I do
very nice.
splurge and have brownies made with rice,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean,
And
you
then,
have to have some things to look forward to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I
But I
mean,
don't. I could say what I don't have, but it's a pretty long list.
yeah.
But no dairy and no gluten, so that's all that stuff is cut out.
That's eliminated.
So and
Yeah.
eggs, so it's pretty limited. Like for breakfast, I saute onions and mushrooms. I put a little
Mm.
bit of canned salmon in there and fresh spinach,
I mean,
and
that
I
sounds
call it
fantastic.
my breakfast saute.
That sounds fantastic. You figure it out, don't you? You figure it
Yes,
out what you can have, and then you look forward to things same as anyone else. But there is
right, right,
nothing as that to prize as much as feeling well, right?
exactly.
And I mean, there's a direct
Well, before
relationship.
I changed things, I had such bad, what they call brain fog,
Yeah,
that I couldn't hardly finish a sentence. Our sons and Matt got so used to helping me because I'd go, like, my brain would just stop and I couldn't think of a word.
yeah.
And they would always be supplying my words for me. And they got so used to it now that they want to do it now. And I'm like, no, I know what I'm saying now.
They're used to helping you
But
out,
yeah.
and you had awful migraines too during that
Oh,
time.
yes. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. So many migraines. I had them since, like, I remember in third grade coming home with migraines off the bus. And um, they all mostly, once in a while, I'll still get it weather related ones,
yeah,
but most of them have cleared up since I changed my food.
yeah. So I mean this is just such good news. Lots of comments coming in. Thank you for telling your story. Kelly says stress and the wrong foods were her downfall for so many years, and she thought that she was doing the right thing, and now she's learning how it's wrong. It's some people don't have any bad reactions to food, and they feel like everything's going well, and then this conversation isn't necessarily for them. But a lot of people, I think, feel like something's wrong. Like I don't, my energy isn't there or something. It's not
Right,
just getting older. It's like something, the machine is not working well. And if you feel like
right,
your brain isn't working well or you're having pain, you really have to figure it out, right? You don't want to, like, it's the kind of thing that you want to put your head in the sand because it's like it's such a big scary topic and maybe you never figure out the answer. But you kind of owe it to yourself to at least try to figure out how to make life better.
yeah,
And food is obviously like it's got to be the first thing that you look at, right?
Right, that's our fuel. If
Yeah,
we don't have good fuel, forget it.
that's it. That's it. And Rita says, today's my mom's B day, who suffered with orphan disease. Of course, the doctors all said that she was a drug seeker. My mom holds my hand from heaven to help me with my disorders. Sounds like we have the same story. Rita said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So, so you went through a long period in your life where you just did not feel well and you were like kind of reliving your grandmother's life and you were in this place of pain. And then you got it under control. And is that when you started to say, now it's time to live my life and travel?
Well, it was that, and also I homeschooled our three sons all the way from kindergarten through high school to graduation. And when the last one left, I guess I kind of went through midlife crisis
Mm-hmm.
because not only did, we have an empty nest, but I didn't have a job anymore, which was homeschooling.
Yeah.
And that's when I was starting to get better. But I always felt like, well, I can't get a job. I won't be a reliable employee. I don't know when I'm going to be stuck on the couch and not be able to finish a sentence. So I knew I wouldn't be able to work. And that's when we started traveling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it got so we would get home and I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I just wanted to plan the next trip. So after a while, I'm like, let's just not come home.
And you already had this kind of hardwired because your family did RVing. And you show some beautiful photos in the book. Let me show you this one because it looks like a Norman Rockwell painting to me of this is you and your mom, right? Coming out
Yes,
of the
yes.
RV. There's
Yep,
lots of
coming out of a
photos.
pop up.
Yep, a little pop up. And so you had already as a child participated in this culture of travel.
Yes,
Uh,
in fact, I'll show you. I did a painting of it. Can you see it?
yes. Yep.
That's
Lift it up just a little bit more. Yeah. And is that a little bit higher? Yep. Is that your mom coming out of the trailer?
no,
The
no,
RV?
that's my grandmother.
That's your grandma. Okay.
Yeah,
So you're the third
you can see the old
generation.
car there.
Yep.
Yes, I they lived across the road from me, and so I was over at Grandpa and Grandma's a lot. But every winter they would leave and their camper, and I'm like, really missed them. But she would go down to Florida and she was doing square dancing and having a ball. Whereas I know if she had stayed up in Pennsylvania, she would have felt sick and achy and, you know, not had all that fun. So I'm glad they got to go, even though I missed them so much.
Oh, right. And
Oh,
you're
and then we had the stories of Matt's grandparents too, which this is one of the stories I wish they had written down. I've always had this desire to travel and explore. And when I met Matt, he said his grandparents went for a whole month to Alaska with a little camper that you put in the back of a pickup truck.
oh wow.
And that just sounded so adventurous to me. I'm like, I want to do that kind of thing. But, their story isn't written down. So
Oh
he came
gosh.
from a background, he didn't do it that much as a kid, but he also knew of grandparents that did that.
They're adventurers on both sides.
Yeah.
Now this is your grandpa, right, in the boat.
Yes.
So he enjoyed going down to Florida as well and going fishing. Oh,
Yes, he did. But he had a big farm with some woods on it. And I would go for long walks with Grandpa in the woods. I feel like he kind of taught me to love nature.
hmm. This is such. I love that your story has such a loving start, right? Like you came from loving parents, loving grandparents, tight family. You had four brothers yourself.
Four older brothers and then me.
Yep. And then you yourself had three sons, right?
Yes.
So I mean, big families all around, very tight families, and then this culture of adventuring or curiosity about what else is there to see, what else is out there. So this must have
That
been. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that and the willingness to just do new things
Yeah.
or to even do outrageous things. I mean, my whole family does really, my four brothers do really unusual things too, so that kind of set an example to me like nothing is impossible if you're interested in it, study about it yourself look into it and just go ahead and try things,
Yeah.
which is one of the things I'm hoping to show in this book is, we're never too old to try new things and to push ourselves a little bit and just go for it.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes and not do it well. It's better than never trying at all.
That's right. And it just
Yeah, like my mom has never done art, and she's 91 years old, and every Wednesday she wants me to come over and do art with her. She's never happy with what she does. I think what she does is great though, and we have a great time together, and I think it's very fun for her.
I've got to show that picture because your mom is such a beautiful woman, by the way.
Oh, she
Oh,
is.
she really is. Here, the picture right here.
Oh,
Um,
you already found it. You're fast.
yeah. So
Yeah,
here
that's
you
us
are with
doing
your
art
mom.
here in the camper.
Yeah. And I mean, she looks like she's having a great time. I know sometimes from looking at your Facebook posts that you say this is the art for the day, and it's often
Yes.
you were doing it with your mom or you were doing it with a buddy. So yeah, so I mean,
Or
it's so interesting because the traveling was there, but the art part wasn't there for you. Your mom didn't do art. She didn't do crafts, right? She was busy. She work?
Oh yes, my parents were entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
They always had their own businesses, and they worked so hard doing that. Especially my mom. My dad was the creative one. Although mom was creative, she has always had a beautiful flower garden, and
Mm.
that was her creation, her outlet, creative outlet. But dad was always doing very creative things because he had some time after they did their work.
Yeah.
He would come home and do creative stuff. But after she worked all day at the business, she would come home and do laundry and make meals and
Yeah. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Her time was
So she
accounted
never
for.
had an opportunity. So
Yeah.
actually at 80, she started teaching herself piano,
Oh,
and now
nice.
she's trying art. So she's very inspirational.
That is super inspirational. Yeah, I mean it's just sounds like you grew up in such a nice place. Like it just seems
Yeah.
like it was a. I love looking at these pictures of your family, your parents, your grandparents, and so many happy stories came out of this. So the beginning is very solid. I can see why you were so well nurtured as a person through your life that I can see how you, despite the health challenges, how you became a person who has the confidence, the curiosity, but also the confidence and the bravery to do a big lifestyle change like this. As soon as you're done with homeschooling, to make this kind of a shift, you must have got that from somewhere, right? That doesn't come from nothing. They
Oh,
must
I
have given
definitely
that to
have
you.
had a lot of examples of just going for it. And I think also the homeschooling, that was very countercultural.
Yeah,
I had to study and teach myself how to teach the kids.
yeah,
And so I've kind of got used to just doing different things.
yeah.
It's funny because our son told somebody once that he had no problem just trying stuff and teaching himself and doing something new, and the person said that's very unusual. And I thought, well, it kind of goes with the rest of the family.
Yeah, it's he's inherited that. I mean, what like that's such a great gift to give your kids or to give friends or to share with other people. Just the idea that it be brave. It's possible,
Yeah,
right? Just go forward
absolutely.
toward what you want. Yeah, because we can make so many excuses in our lives for not trying things, and then you end up being whatever age and feeling like you haven't done anything that you were
Right.
longing for, and that's a
Yep.
terrible place to find yourself.
Yeah.
So while you were homeschooling, I'm seeing that you were doing lots of other crafts. Like you were doing a lot of beautiful jewelry making.
Yep.
You were making doilies. Were you doing lace making or crocheting?
It was thread crochet.
Yep. You were
Yeah.
doing a lot of other crafts for fun. Kind of was that
Yeah.
kind of sprinkled in along with your day? That was your creative outlet time.
Yeah, I guess I've always wanted to make things. My dad set the example, and I saw my brothers always making things. So that it's just kind of innate that I want to make things. So even as a kid, I taught myself to crochet. But after we got married, Matt's mom was a big crafter. She did a lot of needlepoint and counted cross stitch.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went to their house for the first time and she had an entire bedroom filled with craft supplies.
Wow.
I had never, now, now all of us rug hookers have that,
But
but I had never seen such a thing. I thought, this is glorious. And she got me started on things and I just never stopped. I kept, like, I taught myself to knit and crochet, and then I did crewel. I loved
Mhm.
doing crewel and some embroidery. I really liked fiber arts.
Yeah.
And I thought, painting and drawing seemed out of my realm. Like, you
Mhm.
have to be trained to do that. You can't just pick that up and do that. Whereas the fiber arts seemed a little more approachable to me.
Yeah.
So I never thought I could do painting. But after I fell and broke my back and broke my shoulder, I couldn't do rug hooking. So that's when I really started painting a lot. Although I'd done a little bit before then,
Yeah.
but that's
You
when I really poured myself into it.
oh, that's so rough. You're and so many of these so many of the paintings and the rugs are in the book, as you can imagine, right? They're right here. um, you know, we're going to get to this and sort of demonstrate it later, but I have to say the reason I can identify your work when I see it, right? It just pops up, and I go, oh, for sure that's Janine, is because you have a very specific style. It's a trick that you do that is an excellent trick, which makes me sort of bridle when you say, "Oh, I didn't think I had any, talent as a painter because I wasn't trained." You do this thing where your pieces are absolutely composites. They're not literal scenes. You make composites as a rule. Your compositions are many pieces of things that they all tell the same story or support the same story, but they're all separate pieces, and you put them together in a composition, and that is very unusual to just without artistic training, because you're basically doing two things at once. You're creating a fine art composition, a line drawing, but you're also creating a collage, and you're making solid decisions about what makes sense to include, where is it going to fit in the composition, is it going to further the storytelling, is it going to complicate the storytelling, how is the scale going to work. You just instinctively know how to do that. So it turns out that you are an artist without any question. I
Well,
mean,
I guess so. What are you saying, hon? Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can see the piece. That's another. That's the one I'm working on now. But my parents. This is one of the businesses that my dad and mom started, was a weekly newspaper, and all of us kids worked in that as we were growing up, helping with the mailing or whatever. And the one thing dad had me doing was make ads. Now, back then, there was no computer, no laptop computer, no way to design on a computer. It was typing things out and cutting out the lines and cutting out the little pieces of art that you would put into the ads, and then you would have to put them through a waxer and put them down on paper and move them around. And I remember dad saying, you don't leave enough white space. But the advertisers all liked my ads, and they were asking for me to make their ads. So I guess it was kind of innate, that laying out and figuring out how to make things look good together.
that is so interesting because that has to be where that came from. You were doing the
Yeah,
exact same thing, and
as
now
a teenager.
absolutely, and you brought that skill with you to designing and composition, because it is so unusual. Should we have a look at the one that's behind you? I can I know we're jumping forward with that one.
Yeah.
Let me move
I don't
myself.
know how. Is that good to move it that way?
I'm going to move myself way over because nobody needs to see me right now. And if you move, it's to your right. Let's see a little bit further to your right.
That way?
Yep, a little bit more. So this is the one that I saw in the book that you hadn't finished the sky yet.
Yeah, I haven't. Still have more to go.
Gotcha. But you've made a lot of progress.
I have, even since the book.
So starting at the bottom of it, we're seeing the RV,
Yes.
and you see what I mean, and we can see some examples of this. And again, one more reminder that last time Janine and I were here together in that older video that is still there for you, we did look in detail at a lot of these compositions. your compositions work like Persian art in that the storytelling is vertical and it starts at the bottom with the story, and in this case it seems like it's the story of the RV, and as your eye goes up there are different parts of the story, different views, different characters. It all comes together. They always go bottom to top, or at least that's what I've noticed, which is interesting. Well,
Yeah,
sometimes you have like a wreath, but with these really complicated ones that involve
yeah,
travel scenes, you
right.
often have things in the distance that can't be literal, but it's a
Yes,
different part of the story. Um,
exactly.
so this one, you've got the RV, and then there is a sort of layer or a shelf that is like rock that's under the earth and the rock where you're sitting.
Right. There's several things in this piece. This is supposed to capture the one summer where we traveled to 9 national parks and Monument Valley all
Wow.
in one summer. And now I didn't get all of the national parks in there, but the yellow layer right behind the camper
Yeah.
is are some hills from Death Valley, and then above that you see the cliff dwellings
Yes.
from Mesa Verde. And of course, you see my wonderful husband there, standing there
Yes.
with the backpack that he always carries food and water in for me.
Yes.
And then I'm sitting on a shelf overlooking Mount now Zion, the mountains in Zion National Park.
Yeah.
And there's some petroglyphs that we saw at Capitol Reef. And then it goes up to Monument Valley,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
this is Thor's hammer from Bryce.
Yeah.
And then up here is going to be Yosemite.
Wow. Wow. So this is a composite of the national parks that you saw that year. And
Yes.
you have managed to get them into, again, this is magic. And this is not something that's easy to do. You've managed to get them into a composition that, while you can tell, it is like a sampler. Like we're looking at more than one thing. It's not a literal view. You do it in a way that the piece is still cohesive and somehow not confusing. And that's the magic of you. I don't know how you do that. I really don't. With a piece like this, and I'm going to come back to you halfway because I want to show at the. Oh, let me see if I can grab myself. There we go. No, wait a minute. Oh no, I'm lost on the side. I wonder
Oh
if.
no.
Yeah, I might not be able. There we go. Let me show you real quick. Janine, come back to the side if you can. I know at the end of the book, I just want to show that picture so you can see it panned back a little bit. Um, it just always boggles my mind that your pieces, they're so pure, they're not confusing to look at, but there's so much information in them, and I just don't know how you do it. It's something that is really singular to your style. Oh, wait a minute, I thought that was it, but that was the Desert Beauty. I think it's after Desert Beauty.
Are you looking for the piece that's
Yeah,
hanging behind me?
yeah.
Yeah, that's towards the end. Let's see here.
There it
Page
is.
189.
Yep, there it is. So I'll hold it up. It's not going to be a great, but you see, Janine's got a bit further with it here. But just looking at it all at once, you see how the scene travels from the bottom, from the camper, right? This is like laying the groundwork of the storytelling. And then you see Janine and Matt, you see the figures. And then layer by layer, you're seeing the different parks. And that is the story. But I mean, when you're designing something like this, and you know you want to tell a story that has several parts, how do you start laying out your composition if that's not a secret thing to ask?
Oh no, it's not a secret. It's I guess a lot of thinking in the background. Like we went on that trip and I journal all the time about our journeys and what happened, and I thought I've got to capture this. It was an amazing summer and I thought I've got to capture this somehow in a rug. And it was really kind of an overwhelming summer, all those national parks. Like this only has what 5 or something in there, and we went to 9. So there was a lot more, and I was totally overwhelmed and couldn't figure it out. So it took me, kind of a year and a half of just ruminating on it, and then all of a sudden it like came to me. So I always work from my photos, and I work in my iPad on Procreate
Yep.
and make different layers, and I can move them around until I'm happy with the composition. And I look at my photos as I'm hooking as well. Now that's this kind of rug. I also do ones that I think are more like just kind of folk art,
Yep.
and those I don't look at photos or anything. I'm just
I
drawing and
love this one
making.
too. This one is more. This is still a storytelling piece, but it's not like a personal storytelling piece. This is a gorgeous rug. I saw this in the book too, and it says your father. It says what is the text? You.
It says your father knows, and do not worry.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. So that's a beautiful inspirational piece. Now, I want to look at that one again, but I just have to show this while we're here because someone asked, and I'm going to give you a second to answer this, but how you're keeping your supplies on the trailer on the RV. But I also have to show you you're getting a lot of help. Matt has made this light table for you that fits over the island. So when
Uh
you
huh.
have your drawing ready, you he has made it easy for you to be able to do all the parts to this craft that are a bit unwieldy, difficult, and would be challenging in a confined space, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, gosh,
He's
s- um,
he's invaluable. He helps me with all of it.
yeah, because sooner or later you're consulting. So you went to the 9 parks, you settled on the 5. That's still a lot because it's not just a question of the composition, isn't just doing a geographic shift from place to place. It's also doing the time shift because it doesn't all happen at the same time. It's not all occurring in one scene. So you need to make those decisions about how do I lay out a design that has this kind of variety. And the fact that you always seem to know the answer to that, it to me is remarkable. It really is. It's remarkable. But what would you say to the question? How do you keep your supplies in a small space?
Well, when we first started RVing full time, I had only been rug hooking for 2 years. So I didn't have that much wool or anything yet. So, but I did have a lot of other supplies. I still carry jewelry making supplies with me and painting supplies and that kind of stuff. So we have a closet in the bedroom that is plumbed for washer and dryer. But I always say, clean clothes are optional. We're campers, we're allowed to have dirty clothes and stink because we're campers,
I
which
think
we
that's fair.
which we don't, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I can use the campground washer and dryer or go to a laundromat, but I have to have my supplies to do my art and rug hooking. So that whole closet is filled with stuff, but it has grown. And now this current rig we have has a bank of cabinets, and that's all full with wool. And now I have an ottoman, a large ottoman that's filled with painting supplies. So it can get out of hand,
Yeah.
but I try a lot. One part of my style is that I use a lot of different pieces in each area. Like I'll have a lot of different wools in an area.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to buy a lot of 1 yard pieces or even half-yard pieces, I'll buy small pieces of wool and mix them and try to use up my worms in the next
Yeah.
piece, and really try to keep my supplies limited. But
Uh,
it is hard.
Yeah, that's so interesting because of the lifestyle and because of the space challenges, um, y- your work includes a lot of blending. You do a lot
Yes.
of, and and that's using up scraps, right? When you blend, you're using little
Right.
bits of this and little bits of that.
Yep.
It's so interesting because that sort of aspect of how you're doing the technical hooking is affected by the physical circumstance, and it
Right.
has become part of your look. It has become sort of synonymous with what your work looks like. And that's a weird kind of a gift because I know it is challenging to try to use stuff up or to have small amounts. It can be challenging, but your problem solving with that specific problem has contributed to creating your look. And that's the gift.
Right. I think so. I think if we have limited supplies, we often have to be more creative.
Yeah.
And, buying more and more supplies can kind of immobilize us.
Yeah.
It makes us feel overwhelmed. Like I just had Matt buy me some um, water soluble oil
Hmm.
paint sticks
Okay.
for Christmas. And I've never ventured into oil at all. And
Hmm.
I got them out yesterday, and I thought, you know what, this totally overwhelms me. I can't face this right now. So I think I need to get my watercolors back out and just mess with that. And then maybe I'll be able to get to them. But it's very tempting. We see all these new art supplies and go to places and see all the beautiful wool and well, and I sell patterns, so I want
Hmm.
people to buy stuff, but
Yeah.
I think we can overbuy and overwhelm ourselves, and it's better to work with less. Just like getting rid of my house and all the stuff in it um, freed me up to
Yeah.
do a lot more in my life than keeping everything.
That's so. So let me show here. This is the house you had in Maryland, and
Mm-hmm.
this was the family home for years, right?
23 years.
23 years. This is where you had the boys. This was home, and
Yes.
then once you made the decision to sell the house, what was the chronology? What was the chronology like there? You were finished with homeschooling. It was empty nest. All of that. Those sort of horrible feelings of. You went from being terribly needed, desperately needed, right? To
Yes.
they're now they've left and they're living life, and then you're feeling like, what kind of job can I get because I've got all of these health challenges. That must have been a really low time for you. What was the timeline where you sort of transitioned and said, you know what, done with the house, done with this chapter, let's do it?
Yeah. I think our last son left for college, and those 2 years after he left, we were actually half timers.
Mm-hmm.
We were away from our house 6 months of both of those years, not six consecutive months, but we would go on a trip. We would come back for a few weeks
Yeah.
and, then pack the camper up again and leave again. And it just didn't make sense because we were paying for campgrounds and a mortgage on the
Mm-hmm.
house, and we weren't aren't wealthy people, so it's like this does not make sense
Yeah.
financially, and it was getting harder and harder to be home for me without. You're right, the homeschooling was very filled with purpose and
Mm-hmm.
meaning, and then of course I loved my kids, and then they were out, which I wanted them to fly and be
Yeah.
successful, so but it was just still hard as a mom.
Yeah.
So I think it was the 2 years, and then we talked about going homeschooling. I mean, going full timing. And then when we made the decision, we made it in April. We got really busy at getting rid of stuff, and the house was sold in June.
Wow.
So closed in July. Yep, and in the road. So it went really fast.
And
But one
how?
thing I learned was how people really didn't want our stuff. All the stuff that we collect and think is so wonderful
Yeah.
doesn't mean much to anybody else. And we took a lot of loads of stuff to the dump, which seems awful, but we sold what we could. We gave away a lot of things, and then took them to Goodwill, and
Yeah.
then just
You.
took it to the dump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch up on some of these questions in a minute. So interesting. So it's not like you keep a big storage locker somewhere.
No, now we do have some things stored at my mom's house in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's not very much, but it's mostly things that were very sentimental, like things that my dad had made for us because he made a lot of really cool things. Um, some furniture Matt had made. He made some beautiful mission furniture,
Ooh.
and dishes from his stepmother, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Heirloom type stuff.
Yeah.
And was it hard? Was that hard to do? Did you find yourself during the process of packing and getting rid of stuff? Did you find yourself second guessing yourself?
Oh yeah, all the time. But uh, it was a very weird experience
Mm-hmm.
because we started to get rid of stuff, and immediately I felt freer.
Yeah.
And it was just, the more we did it, the freer I felt. It felt really like there. I never realized, I heard once that possessions possess you.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, right, but they
Yeah.
really
No,
do.
they do.
They take, even if they are not taking your time, they are taking mental space and emotional space. And getting rid of stuff just really freed up so much. It was a very strange, amazing experience.
Yeah. Did you have to keep
Matt's trying to tell me to tell stuff, but I don't want to tell everything in the book. They got to buy the book, not get all the
Yeah,
stories
I mean,
now.
this is very well articulated in the book. The story, this transition. It's just, it's so hard right now. I'm just, I had my kids so late, and I am just hemmed in by stuff. I'm just like Edgar Allan Poe, buried alive type,
Yes, I
and
remember those days.
yeah. And it's so hard to imagine. It's like, I'm wondering if you, the whole time, you kept giving yourself this C.S. Lewis reminder that the things that were ahead of you were better than the things that were behind. Because you must have
Right.
had some kind of a mantra going through your head to be able to keep doing the hard physical work of packing when you're
Yes.
emotionally second guessing yourself, or, it must have been, yeah, you must have been very purposeful and um, guided in a way that allowed you to keep going and to see it through.
Yes. Well, I really felt prompted to do it, and I take that as prompting from the Lord, and I
Yeah.
didn't understand why He would want us to do it, but so that was helpful. But also, I think having eased into RVing like we did,
Mm-hmm.
and having gone the 2 years of half timing
Yeah.
really helped, because I knew how much I enjoyed those adventures, and how much more the adventures and the freedom to go visit family for extended times and that kind of stuff meant a lot more to me than all the stuff in the house.
Yeah.
So it was hard at some points, but I'd also read, I didn't read the book. I forget who the author was, but she was really good about telling you to declutter and everything. And my friend told me some of it. And one of the things was, if something's hard to give up, take a picture of it. And I did take a lot of pictures, but I really have never looked at them. It
Yeah.
was it was very strange though. We came to the 1 year anniversary of being full time and having gotten rid of everything, and all of a sudden memories were coming back of things that I had given up, and I kind of grieved them again. It was strange, but
Yeah.
not for very long. We enjoy this lifestyle so much, and the adventures and the freedom it affords us, that I really didn't mind giving up the stuff overall.
Yeah. That's so good to hear. Because I bet a lot of people struggle with, as you say, rug hookers. We are born hoarders. It is good to hear this because it's very, so a lot of people do need a push to get rid of stuff or start
Hmm.
streamlining stuff and whatever. And it is good and comforting to hear that you were able to do it on this grand scale, with like a bit of sadness, but not horrible regret or a deep sense of loss.
No,
Um,
I suggest to people to try it and just start getting rid of things and see if it makes them feel freer. I think, everybody's different. Some people might not feel that way, but I know several friends that have heard our story and started to get rid of things, and they're like, you're right. This is just an amazing feeling to get rid of some of these possessions that were possessing us.
yeah, yeah. I think that's great advice. I'm just catching up a little bit with some of the comments. Sublime work, the piece that you just showed behind you, and the bird. Where do you keep? Okay, where do you keep? We did that one. Rita, there's over 200 pages in the book. Um,
216.
okay, yeah, it is. It is. It's a nice thick. It's a nice thick book. And Ruth says, I would love to be a gypsy, but the art part of it. And do you work mainly with wool?
Yes, I have also done some pieces with yarn. Like I did bring this piece. I seem to go back and forth. If I do yarn, I mix it with wool.
Oh, I
So
remember.
this,
Yep, this one was in Rug
yeah,
Hooking Magazine.
yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of areas that have yarn,
Yeah.
but then there's other areas that are all wool. So I like to mix it,
Yeah.
and it seems like I'll do a piece with some yarn, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I just got to use all wool in the next one. So
Yeah.
it's it's easier on my wrist to use yarn though.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is one of the huge pluses. So when you say this is going to be a question about your process, when you say you take lots of photographs and then you look at your and then you do a lot of sketching and watercoloring, journaling, and then you're looking at all of the different pieces to put them together into a composite drawing. Is that the sort of chronology? You're kind of going back at things and going, oh, let me look at the pictures from that park or that place or that view. And are you kind of putting them around you and sketching out the parts that um, will fit into the composition?
It's really a combination. I do a lot of the painting and sketching by hand, but then when it comes to really, like if I really want something to have exact proportions, like when I did this artwork, I wasn't worried about exact proportions,
Yeah.
but for the RV, can you see it in the piece? Which way do I go?
Other way.
uh, I can't seem to find it now.
There we
There we
go. There we
go.
go. Yep.
That did it.
Yep.
Uh, for this RV, I wanted to exact the proportions. So I will take the photo and put it into my Procreate program and trace it with the eye pencil.
Okay. That's,
So
yeah.
if I want proportions correct, I'll do that. Otherwise, I do like to do hand drawing and put it
And
in
you
there that way.
do, yeah, you do work in a sort of more folky whimsical style sometimes when I love the loose, I love it when you do loose drawings as well. I love the style of them and the whimsy of loose work. So do you see the stuff that you do in journaling, even if you fully color and finish a drawing or a design in your journal, do you still see that differently than you would see a rug when you approach a rug? Like you want the rug to be correct, more
Oh no,
literal.
I've done both ways.
Hmm.
I like doing both.
Hmm. Yeah, you do. I mean, you do both successfully for sure. But I mean, I love your sketches too. They're so different than your hooked pieces.
Yeah, I like experiencing the freedom with just like this is one of my pieces in my sketchbook.
I love this kind of work. Yeah, I mean, it's so cheerful and it's very carefree.
Well, I that's yeah, I love that. I love color. I love just being free with things and not being stressed out about it.
Yeah,
You know, if you go approach art with wanting to get everything perfect, it'll just ruin the whole experience
yeah,
for you as you're doing it, and you second guess yourself all the time. If the times when I can just let go and just do it
yeah.
and trust my instincts as far as what color to use and how to draw it, I enjoy it so much more. And I think that enjoyment comes out in the piece.
Absolutely does. It absolutely does. Let's see a couple more questions. We have lots more questions. I'm sure what.
Oh no.
Um, you are wise. Just comments. So tell me, when chronologically did your first piece happen?
When was that? What year? No, she's the kit from Caroline Twig. Um,
At
that
Eagle's
was
Nest Woolens.
yes, that was a little kit. She was demonstrating at a an art and craft fair, and I saw it and I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. So I got the kit and did that. But then from here on out, I designed my own. Can you get happy campers? So then I went and started immediately designing my own. Now he's grabbing this off the floor, so it's probably dirty. It has been in front of the kitchen sink for years in our camper.
See,
So
that's so whimsical. I just love it.
yeah,
With
that
the
was my first design, and then I just kept designing from there on out, and it's evolved for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you've designed your style is very distinctive with your sort of travel pieces, your storytelling pieces. But I have to say, your more folky graphic stuff is also very distinctive. It's not like anybody else's. You just lay things out differently. It's just I think your mind is just working differently, and you're very true to yourself. So it doesn't. If you do that thing that so many of us do, and I'm certainly one of them, that you second guess every line that you put into a composition. If you ever do that, it doesn't show. Your designing seems very purposeful to me. You seem to know what you mean to do, even if it's an inspirational piece that has text associated with it, or if it's just a very graphic, fun, loose piece. You seem to know how what you mean to do with those lines after you draw it, and then you hook it appropriately in the style that will eventually best suit the composition.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, I will say that I do second guess some things, but a lot of it is I just go for it
Yeah.
and see what happens,
Yeah.
And I must say that a lot of times I have something different in my mind for a piece,
Hmm.
and it doesn't end up that way, and I think,
Okay.
well, that was a failure. But then I come back a day or two later and I'm like, you know what, I love that now.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I try to tell people in my classes when I teach rug hooking classes is don't tear out. It's that the rug hooking is so forgiving, and that when we do something we don't like, we can tear it out. But if you constantly tear out and don't progress, you never know how it's gonna, like, as soon as you hook something next to another piece of the part of the piece, it changes how that first part looked.
Always.
So
Yeah.
we've got to leave it in there and trust our instincts. And it's amazing how at the end it all comes together. It's almost magical if we can just leave it be and trust it.
Yeah. It is
And
that
I've
hot
had to
minute.
tell myself, in fact, Matt tells me too, I'll start to freak out a piece and he'll be like, it always turns out, just leave it, just settle down.
It's
So,
that. Yeah, I mean, if you can settle down, that's the weird thing about this craft is it is it's a highly technical craft, and so many people who do it are very creative people, and they're just like it's like what you just described. You make something, you're working on something, it seems like it's a failure. You look at it's like your brain and your point of view needs to catch up with what
yes.
your hands did, and then you look at it again later and say, well, it's not a disaster, wait a minute, like this, this is fine. But sometimes your brain isn't working with your hands, and that's why that the hot, like, 10 seconds or sometimes 10 years for some people, you need to give yourself some time, to
Yeah.
return
Yeah.
to return to it without being angry, right, without anger. I'm just seeing this piece because again, this book is very highly illustrated, right? There's like multiple pictures on every spread. This is an example of scale, right? Because you've got the octagon frame that we all know, but this is an example of something that you've transferred probably with your light table onto your backing, and it's your sketch that you're about to fill in.
Yep,
So
that was my sketch, and I printed it off in tiling so that I could tape it together. So that's a bunch of pieces taped together.
oh, okay. This isn't tape. Yep, this is not on fabric yet. So this is taped together, and then you're going to put it on your light table and put your
Right.
material over it and trace it. So when we see a piece like that, I'm seeing different aspects of storytelling, and you have got regions, right? You have got fields where different things are happening, different things in different places. This seems to me, knowing um, what your process is like with trying to use up scraps and with not having an unlimited amount of yardage. When you create designs that work like this, in your head, are you ever thinking, gosh, I hope I have enough for the ground? Or are you thinking, between all the browns I have or the greens I have, it's going to be okay?
The latter, because like Matt went and got the piece, but I don't know how much we can. It's so
Ooh,
it's pretty big.
yeah. Gosh, that
This
is
was
one of this is Summer Journey.
yes.
Yep, and we're seeing the RV again, which really anchors the storytelling, makes it an autobiographical piece. and then we're seeing
right.
different places and different parts of it. That one's in the book too.
Yes,
But
and
I
that was
know,
actually my first piece where I tried to put, excuse me, several scenes together in
hmm
one rug. It has, I think, five different states, things from five different states in it.
yeah,
Uh, and at first I was like, that won't work as one scene, but I thought, well, I really want to try it, so I just went for it, and I love the piece, so it worked.
I love the piece too, and I love the rainbow that's over on the side. That piece appears with so many other pieces in color in the book, so you're able to look at the sketch, you're able to look at the piece. I just love how I really appreciate how much you share about your process, the program that you use, right? Like the InDesign, is that something that's like on the tablet, or is that like a computer thing or a phone thing?
It's Procreate, and it's only for an iPad,
Gotcha.
which is,
Okay.
I thought it could be on a Mac
Yeah.
computer. And so I had Windows machine, and I really wanted Procreate because I had looked into it. So I said, well, I want a Mac, which I didn't realize what a huge transition that would be.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
So I got a Mac, and then I found out that they only make it for the iPad, for the not for the Mac, which
It's
then I
frustrating.
put it off for another year. I thought I'm not going to spend another chunk of money on an iPad. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I really want to do this. So we
Yeah.
finally broke down and got the iPad, and I love it.
Do you often take paintings that you were doing in your journal and try to translate them, it like with a computer program?
Do you mean to make a pattern? Or,
Yeah.
I've done it a couple times. Ooh, I don't know if I'll find it real quick here. Oh, is this one it? This is one example. Um, and it was a very quick
Yeah.
drawing, so it's not one of my better ones, but
That's an
it's one
incredible
that
one.
it's one I translated into a rug.
Yeah. And you've got both in here because
Yes,
this is in God's
God's
hand.
God's hand. Yes.
Yeah, and this is the one that addresses that horrible, frightening experience you had where you got hurt taking a walk, and you managed to make it out, and you still, to some extent, don't are amazed that you were able to you made it like what, like a mile or two out on
Who
two
else? Yeah.
on really did you what did you end up, what was the injury then, because the nurse said to you like you're one tough lady, right?
Yeah. It ended up that I broke my shoulder in two places
Yeah.
and broke a disc in my back. So, and
Ooh,
walked out for 2 miles on really rough terrain.
yeah.
It was definitely God that got me out. And
Yeah.
that's why I made that art in my journal.
hmm
It all helped with the healing emotionally and mentally too, because for a long time I couldn't even talk about it. It was so horrendous to me. But the time, of course, and making the drawing, but it's like, no, I need even more.
Yeah.
So I made the rug. Matt will go get it for me. And it hangs on our bedroom wall. And I look at that. There's times where things seem really hard, or I get another challenge comes up, and I look up and I remember God held me in his hand and helped me through that, and he's going to help me through what I'm going through now.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of my favorite pieces, partly because of the story that's associated with it. I just, I, it's, I just feel the immediacy of it somehow. The story really comes through with the sketch, that sort of folk art perspective of the literal hand holding you and guiding you. It's just so evocative, right? It's such a beautiful image, and it's such a comforting image to look at. And the fact that it has this direct relationship to this really scary story, and just the side idea that it was something that you just could not talk about, and it was easier to tell the story by drawing it, and you worked it out emotionally that way. so that
Yes.
it did have a shape and it was manageable. Um,
Yep.
and that is the beauty and the gift of being able to go to your art, whether you feel like you're an artist or not, and to be able to work out some of the stories, the things that happened, past, present, that's a
Yes.
gift. That's a gift.
I read recently online that creating releases serotonin, and
Really?
serotonin is the calming well-being hormone.
Yeah.
And so, I often hear rug hookers talk about hooking as kind of a meditative
Mm-hmm.
and art that helps them. And well, it makes total sense if it's releasing this hormone in us that gives us a feeling of calm and well-being.
Yeah.
So working with our hands and making things really actually helps us.
Yeah.
And I think we need it.
Yeah. I agree. And in rug hooking, I think even more, I mean, I'm very partial, but I think rug hooking even more than other crafts, it's like, you know, when people start rug hooking and they draw their own pattern for the first time, or they're even working a commercial pattern, 99% of the time the person will say, well, it came out better than I thought, because there is something about that layer of textile. You add the textile, it's not apples to apples, it's not your sketch anymore. And if your sketch was sketchy and not so great, right, which is not the case for you, but say someone who's like, I can't do art at all, um, if your sketch isn't great, you transfer it, you do it in a different medium, and fiber arts are so forgiving, because
Yes.
it's apples to oranges or pears or artichokes. It's not apples to apples, and you can't sort of crack on yourself and criticize yourself and say like, oh, the hand doesn't look quite right, because it's going to look very different once you hook it. And that, I
Yes.
mean, once in a blue moon, you see someone post on Facebook like, oh, this is my first piece, it's awful. Usually, this is my first piece, it's better than I thought. So that,
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean, it's another
I've
reason.
always thought, you use this wool, and I call it magical.
Mm,
It just comes together and makes pieces look beautiful, even though, like, I put a bunch of worms together on just sketches like a paisley and little fishes and um, circles, and it made a beautiful rug.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you don't have to be a great artist to make something beautiful from your own mind.
that's
And
right.
I try to encourage people to do that. Yes, I love selling my patterns, but I would rather actually if they designed their own things.
Well, funny you say that, because there was a question. I'm catching up a little bit again. Oh, Susan, good to see you. Somebody said a little bit further up, do you sell your patterns? And I think Rita answered that you have your Etsy shop, and your patterns
Yes,
are sold in your Etsy shop, so people can
yes,
order things from you,
yeah.
and you
And
will
it's
send
just
them.
JanineBroscious.etsy.com.
So that's going to be easy to find, right? Um, Yeah, so that's worth knowing. Now, we were talking right before we went live. You have done some teaching here and there. You occasionally teach, and you just sort of mentioned the fact that you love to see people working on doing their own storytelling or making their own patterns happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you've given quite a bit of advice so far tonight to people who are new, who are approaching. Advice along the lines of having the confidence, trusting in the process, not being too quick to pull your work out, right?
Right.
Because as soon as you start getting angry with yourself and angry with the piece, it's going to go downhill until you can stabilize like how you're feeling about the piece. It's not going to go in the right direction if you're angry, right?
Right, right. And I think just don't second guess yourself so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel secure in art, but I think if you can just start thinking to yourself that I can do this, and everybody's an artist, and I can make something from myself and trust myself and keep approaching the piece that way, I think you'll see a real difference.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Um, that's perfect advice. And if you're attracted to this craft, you probably love fiber, and you have to let the role of your materials, whether you're using
Mm,
wool or pantyhose or t-shirts or whatever, you have to you have to give some credit to the materials
mm,
that you use. You have to let them be the star in some way, right? It can't just be control, control, control. It's like let those materials, let them perform a little bit. Give them some space and some time. See what magic they're doing on their own. Give them, let them do their part and step back, right? Don't try to micromanage every little dot that they're doing. Let them do their magic. And then you come in and you kind of look or adjust or curate or whatever you need to do to make it more clear or make it more readable or whatever, make it more your taste. But you have to give your materials some
mm.
space on their own, right? To like you have to empower them with some kind of magic and just let them do their work. You can't, you know, I think a lot of people, and you mentioned this earlier, just tend to overinvest and buy, and it's a lot of times I think that's a way of stalling. You just keep buying
Mm.
stuff. You buy more supplies because
Yes,
you're not sure. You're not sure it's going to work, so you focus instead that it might be the wrong brown, or you have 25 browns, but you still don't have the right brown because it's easier
right.
to focus on that, and it's easier to fix by just buying more stuff. But yeah, the more organic approach that you take to designing and then realizing pieces as hooked pieces, that is something that needs grace and needs space and needs trust and needs you to step back a little bit. It's not that process, at least what you do, is not something that you can rush or helicopter by just buying more supplies to fix stuff. That's not how you get
Right.
the result that you get. It's not, you don't do that style of hooking. It's way more improvisational and it's way
Yes.
more heartfelt, and that comes through in the way that the finished pieces look. Um, Kanga, there is a link to the book in this video. So you'll see the Amazon link in the video. And if you click on it, no matter what country you're watching us from, you should be able to take that link and get right to the book page. And
Or
Ruth
if they
says,
go to Amazon and type in Horizons of the Heart,
right?
there's some other books that have titles somewhat similar,
Yeah,
but this is what the cover looks like.
right.
So,
Yep. So that's going to help. Make sure it's the right color and
yeah,
make sure it has Janine's name on it. Ruth says, Ruth wrote, God is the creator and we are created in his image. So it's not unusual that we would find peace in creating. That's a good
absolutely.
parallel. Yeah.
It's definitely a spiritual activity. And I think, the way I view it is that he's creating through me.
Yeah.
He gives me the abilities, he gives me the hands that work well enough to do it. He's made the materials, we make it from the ground, the paint from the ground, or the sheep, give us
Yeah.
the wool. And then we can take those different pieces that he gives us and make something new,
Yeah.
which is what he did. He made new things and created. And so I definitely look at it as a spiritual activity. And I've been amazed too at the meaning that the art takes on once you make it.
Yeah.
I thought I was just making stuff, and there's one chapter in here where I talk about that, where I've just been making this art for my own enjoyment, my own entertainment. But then I'll put it online, and people will be like, "Wow, that piece really speaks to me," or years later, the piece will speak more to me, and I just feel like that's all because of God and Him working in us and through us.
Yeah. That's probably chapter 11, the stories my art has been telling, finding God,
Yes,
healing, and purpose in what I create.
right.
So this is a big part of your work, and of course, for those of you who are spiritual in different ways, you use whatever words you want, right? You know that feeling of having this sort of divine inspiration, something working through you, and you are able to, whether you use this as like an expression, a sort of, you have that same religious feeling, and you're working on your art, your rugs, or any kind of projects. It's a expression of how you feel or your faith, or whether you're using your art to just tell your story, or
Right.
to prompt yourself to think, right, about why, why am I like this? Why did I do this? Why did this happen? Like going through the woods and that horrible agony of being in pain and having, to make your way out and being so scared. All of these things are things that we can work through, and this is why this craft has been used as therapy for so long. We can
Yes.
really, it's a medium we can really dig in and tell our stories, and the stories can be all over the place. And the work doesn't have to be perfect because this is folk art, right? So
Right.
there's
Right.
something for everybody here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Dave says, "Hi, everybody. Working on a rug repair for a friend. Whipping the edges. Glad to be here." Oh, he's having turkey burgers, fries, and cider. Oh, Janine. Oh,
Oh,
that's probably nothing that either of us can eat, right? Well, turkey burger sounds okay,
turkey
actually.
burger sounds good. And
Yeah.
fries, if they're done in the right oil, I can have.
Okay. What kind of oil is good? Is it
Well, I can have peanuts. With all the
okay?
other allergies I have, I can have peanuts. So, like, I can go to Five Guys and get their fries. But
Okay.
most other places, if they use corn oil or canola oil or, or fry breaded things in the oil,
Yeah.
then I can't have them.
Yeah.
So,
That's the thing because we were talking about food earlier in diet, and yeah, overbaked fries. Oh, I love overbaked fries. Yeah, we were
they're
talking
going to
about
make
that.
us hungry.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely making me hungry. I loved going through this. I loved seeing this picture because when you were here, you were in my favorite place in the whole world on the Cape.
Yes.
Did you have a good time out there?
Oh, we loved it. We
Yeah.
actually went to the Cape twice,
Hmm.
once just for vacation, and another time because our son got married on Cape Cod.
Was that the
So,
picture of you dancing? Was that on the Cape?
yes.
Okay. Oh, how nice. And did you get any creative ideas out there for
Well, I
like
get creative ideas everywhere.
yeah. But no Cape rugs yet.
Not yet.
Hmm.
If I would, I did the one lighthouse up in Maine of Matt and I kissing in front of the
Yes, I
lighthouse.
love that one.
So,
That's right. That is such a
yeah,
good one.
might have
Oh,
to go to the Cape again to get more inspiration for a rug.
absolutely. And it's so different in different seasons too, which yeah.
Oh, I suppose so.
Yeah. Oh, do you see different things at different times? I love this part of the book where, because, you know, it's easy to imagine the lifestyle that you have as being, the two of you are in the RV, you travel. It's easy to imagine that as being a quite solitary life. But so much of the book is filled with photos of you connecting with your hooking friends and teaching and setting up exhibits. So despite the fact that the lifestyle can be transient, you do a lot of you get a lot of people time, don't you?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of time where it's just me and Matt, but I mean, even when we had a house, there was a lot of time where it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
But we love to travel to different areas and see people and teach. And um, a lot of the traveling has been to go see our sons because one lives in Maryland and one in Illinois and one in California. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, and then we can stay there for quite an extended time to visit with them
Yeah.
and really take part in their lives. So, but I love the rug hooking. With growing up with four brothers and then having three sons and staying home and homeschooling them, we did do group activities, but I wasn't around women that much,
Hmm.
and I grew up in the country in Pennsylvania and didn't have very many, friends. So this whole community of rug hookers and meeting people all over and being invited to tea. It's been so enriching to me. I've just loved the rug hooking community
Yeah.
and loved how they invited me in and embraced me. It's very welcoming.
It is. It is, and that's a great point. You have been surrounded by men a lot in your life,
Yes.
like really an exceptional amount. And I loved also when you said, there are some things that you miss with this because it all. I mean, everyone's dying. It sounds so magical. Everybody wants to just sell their house and take off. And now that we know that it can be done, it's very tempting. But you do talk about some of the things about having this kind of lifestyle that you do miss, little things, right?
Yes, I really miss a washer and dryer. I know I have to have my art supplies, but I do miss a washer and dryer.
Yeah, but you make the most of it because at the laundromat you've got your journal and you're sketching and you're
Yeah.
using that time wisely. instead of sitting and doom scrolling or whatever, you're turning everything into something positive.
I try. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not always successful in doing that, but
Well,
I really do try.
well,
That's one thing I do in my journal, my writing journals,
yeah.
is that, I write the stream of thought, whatever comes into my mind, I'll write. And sometimes it's very negative, and like I'll write something like, I'm just such a bad mom because I'm not doing this, you're not doing that. You can never live up to the ideal.
No.
And then I'll stop and I'll write, no, that's not true. I do the very best I can. My kids love me. We have great relationships. And reword that negative thinking, because we can get stuck in those thoughts and ruin our whole days, our whole lives,
Yeah.
actually, with the negative thinking. So I try to, some people might say it's Pollyanna. I'm not looking at the reality of life, but I know the reality of life. But I also know there's beauty everywhere, and we need to stop the doom scrolling or watching the news and notice the beauty out there and take part in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point because I mean you have had some quite heavy stuff in your life, so you are not a stranger to the down times and the dark times,
No.
but you have figured out a way to, nobody can fast forward the bad times and the dark times, and you probably shouldn't try because the only way really is through. It's not around.
Right.
You end up
Right.
getting hit with it later if you try to take those kinds of shortcuts. But it is good when you feel like you have tools and creative tools, especially to be able to change your mood or change the place that you're in, because it is really hard when everybody gets into like spirals, and you
Oh,
you
sure.
don't know when you're coming out, and you don't, sometimes you don't even know how you got there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean it's all frustrating and scary and dark, and it is good to be able to at least have sort of a protocol. As soon as you're up for it, you can reach for your journal or you can reach for your sketchbook. And
Yeah. I think having those habits is really helpful. I don't know how apt I'd be to reach to for a journal if I'm spiraling like that. But
yeah.
the fact that I have it as a habit to every day get up and read my Bible and then write
Hmm.
3 pages in my journal, it's just been incredibly helpful to
Yeah.
me. I would try to encourage everybody to do that,
Yeah.
because it totally can reset my mindset, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying it stays that way all day, but it gives me a really good way to start, and at least a chance,
Yeah.
to have a day that's filled with positivity and beauty.
Yeah. That's also great advice because yeah, I mean you can you we none of us can control like the way the day goes or the way your mood goes or your imagination or whatever. But I think I totally agree with you that having a routine is is the thing. And I think
Yeah.
especially for you and with your lifestyle, having a routine is crucial because everything like for you, like where are you now?
We come down to Florida
Okay.
for several months every winter. So we're in Bradenton, Florida, and my mom comes down and stays in a development near here in the winter too. So we're down here helping her and enjoying the sunshine and the heat. But you're right, we're except for when we're still in Florida, we are traveling nonstop the rest of the year, and everything around me is changing,
Yeah.
which I find that revitalizing, and I enjoy it. I know some people might not, but I really love it. But I do have to have those routines and habits that help me to keep centered.
Yeah, something has to stay the same.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's like no footing. It's hard to get the footing. If it was a traveling time of year, how do you decide when it's time to leave somewhere and push on somewhere else?
Well, when I first started to want to do this full timing, I had this beautiful imaginative imagination that we could just go places and stay as long as we wanted until we were done exploring that area and then move on somewhere else. And it doesn't really work that way. Especially when COVID hit, a lot of people
Mhm.
started RVing, and the RV parks get filled up,
Oh,
and you have to really plan it out.
oh,
And pardon? Big rocks. Big rocks, yeah. So we usually have every year we have some big things that we know we need to go to, like a family event or a rug hooking event, or going to California to all the way across the country. Some years we go all the way across the country, other years we don't. So we have those big things. Matt called them the big rocks, and then we have to fill in the pebbles in between of what direction we're going to go. What can we see? What parks or other interesting towns or whatever can we
Yeah.
see along the way, and that kind of stuff.
That's so funny. I never would have thought about that angle. I also thought it was just like seat of the pants, you just go. But of course, you have to have some kind of plan in place because you have to park somewhere, right? And then
Yes.
you don't know. I mean, I guess it's like how long can you be in that space until the next person has already got that? I mean, it's like anything else,
Right. Yep.
it takes planning. But
Yeah, and the prices have also skyrocketed since we
mm,
started too, which
yeah,
you really have to plan. There's a lot of downsides to RVing. I won't paint it as all wonderful and magical, but there's a lot of things to consider and plan. A lot of planning, and
yeah,
sometimes that can get very tiring. Sometimes it's just like I just don't want to plan another summer out. But
yeah.
once it's all planned up, then we're good. And thankfully, Matt's starting to talk about retiring, so he can do more of this stuff.
The planning part. And I bet you bump into all kinds of cute places that you didn't even find and mean to go to. You must drive through stuff and say, "Oh, let's walk around for the afternoon."
Oh, it's so true. And the we can go to places you've never heard of and find all kinds of interesting stuff in the town, or interesting hikes, meet really fun people. So
Yeah.
it's just been intriguing and really fun to see how in different parts of the country people act different and
Hmm.
live differently and have different needs and
Yeah.
different wants, and it's just been an incredible experience.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. I mean, it is like, yeah. Do you feel like you're going to do this forever? Like this is your life?
It is right now. It's
Yeah.
funny because when we started, we said we'd do it 5 to 7 years, and we've done it 8 now, and coming up on yeah, it's 8.5. So, and neither one of us feels like stopping yet. So, I imagine we'll keep going until maybe health issues would stop us, or who knows what.
Yeah.
But we're open to whatever. We keep praying about it and seeing where the Lord leads. And right now, it's traveling.
Yeah, and I mean, because just like when you did it part time, and now that you go down to Florida, there must be a part of the time that you have to figure in that you're doing not, if not a repeat path to get back to the same place and near. You must hit the same ground often, just doing at least just with Florida as the one big rock. Is it hard to figure out new roads and new ways to go when you know that that's an eventuality?
Well, like Florida is definitely familiar now where we're going, and we do try to explore different places on the way down, and then each one of our sons' places
Yeah.
are familiar, and we usually stay in the same places, but a lot of it has been new. There's several different interstates that cross the country, and I think we've been on every one of them now. And there's some I like and some I don't really like. So, that's a lot of driving, and I've done most of it. So there's some interstates I like better than others, but it's just been really fun finding different things along the way,
Oh,
and different art museums. Everywhere we go, I try to find rug hooking shops or different rug hookers. So it's just been really cool.
it sounds really cool. I love on one of the pages you have a photo with a woman and you said like this really fun person I met at the laundromat. Like you find people, you really enjoy them, make a connection, and it's just it just added to the bag of stories, right? I mean, it
Yeah, it's
seems amazing.
the interactions with people is always fun, and I try to talk to people everywhere we go, and hear their stories and
Yeah.
just see what they're like. So it's
Yeah.
it's fun.
Oh, you are now. So what could be what are you thinking of? What are the next big things, places you'd like to go? What are the next big ones on the list?
Well, we haven't been to Glacier National Park yet.
Oh, okay.
That's one we really really want to get to,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been to every state except for Alaska.
Okay.
So we really want to do Alaska, but
Yeah.
we've been waiting for Matt to retire to do that. So we don't really have any big plans yet this summer. We haven't figured out this summer at all, except for I think we're going to go to Sauter Village for Rug Hooking Week.
I'll see you
But other
there.
than that, we don't. This summer's open, so
Yeah.
we got to. You know, of course, we always fit in visiting our sons. Which some people will say, why do you always end up like in? We were in Death Valley during the hottest days, like it was record-setting days.
Yeah.
That's not the best time to be in Death Valley because it's the hottest place on earth.
But it's convenient for the family, right? For
Right.
yeah, the
So
sun
we
schedule.
stay here in Florida to
Yeah.
help my mom, and so we're here through that time. So by the time we leave Florida and drive all the way up and all the way out west, it's kind of hot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
So
And I
it
imagine
is.
when you finally go to Alaska, you're going to do it differently than Matt's parents, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. We've actually talked about getting an insert for our truck and doing it the same
Really?
way. Yeah. I've heard the roads up in Alaska that you have to drive up there are not good for the kind of rig that we have. So
Okay.
we might either do the insert like his grandparents did and try to relive that, although they didn't write their story, so we don't know how they did it. But or else maybe fly up and rent an RV up there, or we don't have it figured out yet.
Well, so it's nice to have something on the horizon like that.
Yes, it is.
And Ruth said lots more fodder for more books. Um, it would definitely do Alaska. Janine, do you drag a small passenger vehicle behind your RV?
Well, RV is not what most people think of. It's not a drivable RV.
Oh,
It's actually a camper that's attached over a truck.
yep,
Yeah,
there's a picture
so
of it in here.
yeah, she'll show a picture.
Yep.
So we have a really big pickup truck with it's a dually, a long bed crew cab, a huge pickup truck, and then the camper comes up over the bed of the truck, and that's called a fifth wheel camper.
And you love, this isn't the picture I was looking for, but this is going to help describe that. You love driving it, right?
I do. Yeah, it's really fun.
It's not, you don't feel, I mean, I guess if you're on, you wouldn't want to drive it like in Manhattan, right? That kind of thing.
No, but I've gone through St. Louis. I've driven it around Boston. Um, Driven it near New York City, but not right in New York City. Now Matt's trying. Oh, yeah. One time our GPS took us right through Savannah, which has very tight roads, and it's
And
like,
trees, yeah.
and that was pretty early on in my driving it, so
Oof,
I was pretty nervous. So
yeah.
there's been some nerve-wracking drives, but overall I enjoy it.
Yeah, oh, I bet. The captain, the captain of the
Yeah,
whole thing, right?
I get
Uh,
to be in control.
yeah, it sounds great. Oh, now Ruth said satellite for internet in the camper. Is that ever a problem?
Well, we used to do it with just unlimited Verizon and a
Yep,
hotspot. We did
yep.
it that way for many years. Just a year ago, we got the Starlink,
Yes, yep.
which
Somebody
is
mentioned
satellite.
Starlink
Yeah,
and said that
and
that
that's been a
was,
big improvement. But for years, we did it with just unlimited Verizon. So that would also limit where we could go. So part of our planning would be, okay, we want to go to this area, but we have to find a park that has a cell tower near it.
okay.
So
Yeah,
Matt, there's different websites where you could see where the cell towers are. So it was very complicated to plan. I couldn't just find a park and make a reservation. He'd have to look it up and see, well, can we get cell signal there so he can work?
yeah,
And now with Starlink, we don't have to do that.
yeah. That must be a big relief. That's a
It
big
is.
change. Yeah. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so happy
Well,
that
even
that.
here in Florida, it's amazing. The park we're at does not have that great of cell signal. So we could have gotten Spectrum cable, but and we've done that other years, but then there would be problems with that. So we have our Starlink going down here, and everything is seamless. It's been great.
That's fantastic. That's until Matt really is done, right, with working. It's good to have those solutions because it's like all of the noise that little problems make. It's a lot of noise, right? Figuring things
Oh yeah.
out and planning ahead and just stupid things like that. Like who needs them? I mean, half the time the TV doesn't work in the living room here in this house, and it's like who knows why it's not working, but it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Those are the things that get you in life, really.
Oh, it's true.
Oh,
And then and you mentioned that it's like things often break on RVs, and I'll think, oh, gee, if we had a house, that wouldn't be a problem. But when we had our house, stuff was breaking all the time.
the craziest things, right? The craziest things are
Yeah.
problems, and it's so frustrating. It's like you figure one thing out, and then there's something else happens, and you're like, why is there no hot water, or why isn't this working? Why doesn't this work anymore? It doesn't matter where you are, you can't get away from that stuff. It's
No.
just life. But it
Yep.
sounds like you're doing some great problem solving, and it sounds like I mean, after almost 9 years, this is like an art form to you. It's a lot of work, but you know how to do it. You have your schedule in place. You have a bit of a routine in place. You know how to do it. You have a comfort level day to day. You have your stuff about you. You're even using the ottoman for storage space. You've figured out how to make this work.
Yep.
And you're working in rug hooking dates and making connections to other people. Ruth says, "What does Matt do that you're able to make this work?"
Well, he was working from home even before COVID,
Yeah,
and that's part of what made it possible for us to be able to go on the road.
yeah,
Was that he was working from home. He works for IBM in project management.
yeah,
He does a lot of stuff with numbers,
yeah.
which, if anybody would ask me what I'm not good at, it's numbers.
Hmm.
So
Me too.
he's he's strong on the technical engineering type side, and I'm more the other side. So we're a good team. But
The Mars and the
he's
Venus, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, this has been such a great time. I'm hoping I got to everybody's questions. I'm sorry if I missed any questions. There were lots of comments coming through right throughout the show. But Janine, it
Oh,
has been so nice spending some time with you. And I'll be at Solder again, so I'll be able to see you again there.
oh,
We saw each
good.
other last year and then at Tigger. And I will definitely look forward to seeing you again in person. But in the meantime, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I can't recommend this book highly enough. I only got through the beginning, and it's coming to bed with me in a few minutes. It really is. It's just a beautiful book to read. Right, the writing is just impeccable. It's a beautiful, well told story, and it goes along with drawings and rugs and ideas. It's got a strong spiritual backbone. It's just a very uplifting, positive book. And I'm so happy that you wrote it. I can't believe how quickly you managed to put this project together. And you put together such a high quality book, big, thick book that's filled with photos and stories. And I mean, I don't know what I was imagining, but it's so much better than I was imagining.
Aw.
And knowing how much
Well,
I already loved your stuff, it was still surprisingly great. And I look forward to spending a lot more time with this book. All rug hookers should have this book because number one, you're going to love it. And number two, we have to support each other. And just as Janine said many times tonight, what do we have besides our stories, right? That
mm,
is our legacy. That is the only thing that we can leave. We should know each other's stories. We should cross over as often as possible and in as many ways as possible. And this is a great opportunity to get to know you better. And yeah, I'm very happy to have it. I bet a lot of people have ordered it tonight. And I just want to remind you that if you loved tonight, to look back in the channel for the last time Janine and I were together, because that was also a great night of talking, and we looked at a lot of rugs that night too.
yeah,
So
that was a lot of fun.
it was a
I
lot of
want to say
fun.
thank you to you, Deanna, not only for having me tonight, but when I first decided I wanted to write the book, I contacted you about how to get it published and what to do, and you were a wonderful help to me and got me started on the right path. And It was such a great help, and I really really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I was so happy that I had already been through it and that I was able I was able and proud to be able to put forward some of the information that tripped me up, and I hoped that it would be easier for you. And
Oh, it was wonderful advice. I really really appreciate it.
great. Well, the end product speaks for itself. It really is a jewel. The link is here in the show. Otherwise, you can go on Amazon, type in the title, but make sure that you have Janine's name in there too, because right there could be other names with similar titles. Has to look like this, right? It has to look like this.
Yes.
Make
Yep.
sure you get yours from your respective country, and you will. It'll be such a gem when you receive it. It'll be such a prize, and you'll be so happy that you have it in your hand. You won't be able to put it down, just like I was today.
Well, I think everybody will enjoy the paperback, but if you can't do the paperback, it's also available as Kindle
That's
ebook
right.
too.
That's
So
important to say too, because you can
yeah,
still look at all of the pictures and all of the content. None
right.
of it is lost using a Kindle, right? There's
Well,
none of
now
it's
on a
lost.
Kindle, if you have a black and white one, it won't be quite the same experience.
That's true.
Um, but you can get the Kindle app on your phone or iPad or computer,
Yeah.
or tablet, and then you would be able to see it in color.
That's right. As long as your tablet is a color one, then you'll be able to see it.
Right,
Same as,
right.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay, great. So a lot of people ordered their copy. Everybody's so
Yay!
happy,
Thank
and
you.
and Linda says thank you both for a delightful conversation. Happy trails to Janine and Matt. Everybody's very happy, and we appreciate you
Uh-huh.
logging on tonight, spending some time with us. We will see you all soon. Happy Florida times, Janine, and I cannot wait
Thank
to see
you.
you at Sauter Village this fall. Remember Janine's web shop on Etsy, right? Check out
Yep.
Etsy. This is the spelling, right, of Janine's name, right? So check that out for Etsy. You'll find the patterns there, and also tell us about the blog so they can find you there too.
Yeah, I haven't written much on the blog lately, but I intend to go back to it. But it's joyfulwonder.wordpress.com.
Okay, great.
And there are a lot of RVing stories and rug stories on there from my past that I haven't even covered in the book.
So more content, extra content. If
Yes.
you love these stories, you love the book, then you know that you can go back to the blog and you'll find lots more there to keep you
Yep.
busy, right? You can stay in this place for a long time. You have got a lot of stories, and that's a good feeling. You've got a lot to delve into. So thank
Yep.
you so much, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't see you tomorrow because I'm putting up a rug show in Hartford tomorrow. I will probably come to you on Tuesday. I'll give you the time for that, but I will be with you this week several times, at least 2 times, if not 3 times. And I'll give you that information as soon as possible. In the meantime, I'm putting up a rug show in Hartford tomorrow. I'll post the details of that in case anyone wants to come see it or come to the opening, right? That'll be like sometime in February. I'll give you all those dates. But one more time, Janine, thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. Keep us updated on everything.
Well, thank you so much, Deanna, for having me and for supporting my book and being so nice about it. I really appreciate it. And everybody, tell your stories, either in rugs or in writing or your art or whatever, but tell your stories.
That's a great note to end on. Crack something open and start writing about yourself, right? It's not self-indulgent. It's essential, right? You
Yes.
must, right? You feel so much better if you get some of those stories out there, and other people will love to learn and share with you, right? Just as we have tonight. So
Right.
great
Yeah.
advice. All right, everybody. To be continued. I'll let you know when the next live show is, and we will see you all